And welcome to episode 91 of the Willy Thistle podcast, coming to you from the gorgeous state of New Hampshire. Today is Friday 15th of February 2019, and I'm your host, Corinne. The Willy Thistle brings your favourite yarns from the UK and Europe and makes them easily accessible in North America. At thewillythistle.com, you will find the best of British yarns such as Blacker, Uist Wool and Jameson & Smith, to name a few. You will also find yarns from Scandinavia, including Ulcentrum, Plutolopi, Rauma and Tuku wool. With excellent customer service and beautiful yarns to peruse, you will love shopping at thewillythistle.com. That's 2 L's in Woolly. Let the Willy Thistle do the international shipping, so you don't have to. Hello. How are you? If you are new to the podcast, thank you for checking us out. And if you are returning, hello and welcome back. I hope everyone's well. I'm still having email problems, though I think we are very almost there. Actually, I think my email is doing okay. It's more the newsletter. I still haven't sent out a newsletter yet, but I am planning on doing a test to a few people just to see how that goes. I'm really nervous about sending out an email to everybody if it's not going to work properly. So we're just doing a few last little fixes, and then hopefully it will be back to getting news in the newsletter. I have missed having that newsletter. It's a great way of telling you what's happening in the shop, and I know many of you enjoy receiving it. So we're working on it, and we'll get there. So yes, this episode I think is mainly going to be about the Mitten Cowl that's coming up. It starts on February 22nd, and I have lots of information about that. And I have yet to decide exactly what pair of mitts I'll be knitting, but are you any closer to deciding? Well, first of all, are you going to be knitting mittens with us? I hope so. This will be our 4th year knitting mittens together, and of course this is colourwork mittens, which usually means stranded colourwork, but it could mean intarsia. Or entrelac, actually, it could be a form of colour work too. You could use different colours in that. But anyway, I digress. Whatever colour work you want to do is welcome in the Mitten Colourwork Cowl. But I'll tell you all the details about that coming up. So let's get started, shall we? This episode includes Off the Needles, On the Needles, What's Up Next, Cowl News, and the Willy Thistle update. Off the needles. Well, most excited about my Star Cardie. All the knitting is now complete, which means I finished both sleeves and the body. I had steeked the neck and the sleeves, and I recently cut those. And I was very brave. I didn't even secure them first. Oh, I know, right? So let me back up. This is a cardigan that I saw on somebody's Instagram feed. Her name is Blackbird and Goose, and she is in Sweden, I believe, and she has a beautiful Instagram feed, and she was wearing this gorgeous black and grey Norwegian star style cardigan, very simple and elegant, and she wore it really well, and I kept thinking, I want to knit that. And I tracked it down through her Instagram, found the website where she had got it. She didn't knit it. She's not a knitter. She had bought it. And I found where I could get it, but it was €250. And I thought, no, I'd rather spend the money on the wool and knit it myself. But I couldn't find the exact pattern. So then I put a call out on Instagram to see if anybody could help me find this pattern or one very similar to it. You all know the story. And in walks Donna Kay, who is Tree of Life knitter, and said, I can easily design that for you. Just give me some measurements, which I gratefully did, quite surprised at her generosity. And around about Thanksgiving break, she worked on that and emailed me a very concisely written 3-page pattern, of which 1 page was the chart. So a whole cardigan on 2 pages, beautifully written, very understandable, very succinct. And off I went, knit. Really enjoyed knitting the stranded colour work for such a big project. That's the first time I've done all over colour work. Now that it's finished, I find myself trying to pick up yarn with my other hand, even if I'm just knitting one strand knitting, my right hand is looking for that other piece of yarn. So I'm completely conditioned now to do colourwork knitting. Yeah, so I knitted that. It was a bit of a leap of faith. I mean, this hadn't been tested. I didn't know how it would really turn out. I didn't know if I'd given her quite the right measurements. But as it turns out, once I steeked the armholes and the neckline, I was able to try it on and it fit. And it didn't just fit, it fits really quite well. Maybe, for the first time ever, it fits first time. So I'm kind of astonished and blown away. I knitted this using Jamieson & Smith 2-ply, and I had a cone of number 27, which is a medium grey. Had that from before. From my own stash. So I used that, and I used balls of 81, which is a charcoaly black colour, and they go really well together. And I don't mind knitting from the cone. It is quite stringy feeling. It's very thin feeling. But I know that once I wash it, it will bloom. And sure enough, when I blocked it, when I put it in the water, it sank like a stone. It was so dry, it just wanted that moisture. And I could see all the oil lifting right out into the water. So it was very satisfying to put that in the little bin of water. So that then dried, but I couldn't find any of my pins. I don't know if they're here in the shop and they got moved. I don't know where they are. And I didn't know what to do because the bottom was curling. And then I remembered I had my little collection of rocks from Nairn Beach, which is a lovely beach up in the northeast of Scotland. And it's a beach we always go to. My mum actually lives in Nairn. She moved from Inverness and is in Nairn now, in between going up to Fair Isle. So anyway, I have my wee collection of rocks from that beach, and I used them to hold down the bottom to stop it from curling, and it worked a treat. And a lot of you liked that on Instagram, which was kind of cute. Anywho, so the knitting is finished. The blocking is finished. It's dry. And then it kind of sat over there while I thought about sewing in the sleeves. And I realized that this kind of brought me to a full stop because I was really quite nervous of trying to make this sleeve cap fit in the arm scythe of the body. And I have experience sewing, and I know how to do it in sewing. You would put the arm inside the body, right sides together, and you would just sew right around and you would make it fit. But I know with mattress stitching, which I think is the way you're supposed to do it, you've got right sides together and you've got to make it fit without the benefit of putting it inside and having it match. So I needed to think about that. I hadn't even made it to YouTube yet to see how to do it, though I have seen videos in the past. And I have no experience sewing in sleeves. I've never done this before, I don't think. So yeah, that kind of was sitting in timeout. And then I was talking to Susie, who works here at the Willy Thistle, about this. And she said, just put the arm inside the body and then crochet, do a chain stitch around the whole arm. And I thought, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. That gives me the benefit of having it fit properly the way it's going to be worn so that I can sew it without having to, a lot of faffing around. And of course, with a crochet chain stitch, if you don't like it, you just rip it out and start over. So that is what I've done on one sleeve. I did it yesterday and it worked well. It's lying, it fits beautifully. But what I've realized, and I don't know if I should admit to this, but I'm going to, is that the sleeve that I did this with is a little imperfect. I noticed this when I was finishing up knitting the armhole, that it was a little off center. And I think I must have just started my arm shaping a little off by a few stitches. So it's not matching up. The lines of knitting, the pattern are not matching up beautifully. And I'm going to see how the second arm, because that one was knitted correctly. I'm going to see if it's even possible to match up the lines. I don't know if it is or not. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll decide what to do about the first arm, if it needs to be changed. And if it does, then I'll just cut off that top arm shaping and re-knit it from where you cast off under the arm and start the back and forth shaping of the bell shape. So it's an easy enough fix. I don't know if I need to do it or not yet. When I do the correctly shaped arm, then that will tell me whether I need to do that. The first sleeve is shaped properly. It's just a little off center with the patterning. So we'll see. And it depends how much of a perfectionist I want to be. But I am totes thrilled with this cardigan. I haven't cut the steek yet for the button band. That'll be one of the last things I do. But yes, I'm very excited about this. Yes, and I didn't even secure the steeks before I cut them. Why didn't I do that? Because I couldn't be bothered. Because I'm getting blasé and emboldened with my steeking. Because it's really not that scary. Because stitches don't want to run laterally. They want to run vertically, but not horizontally. So I know that when I cut my knitting, it's not going to suddenly woof and undo, especially because I'm using the right wool for the treatment. So I wouldn't do this with merino. No. I wouldn't even cut a steek in merino probably. I don't know. But if I did, I would be sure to secure it. And actually, when I crocheted that arm into the arm scythe, that actually acted like a steek secure measure anyway, because isn't that what you do? If you do a crochet reinforcement, is a chain stitch, I believe. I don't even know because I haven't done it. Because I don't do a crochet reinforcement, I tend to sew it, which I learned from a lovely woman way back in episode 7. Way back. She taught me her method of how to reinforce a steek. But anyway, all that to say, I didn't bother this time, and I'm okay with that. I've tried the sweater on a couple of times. I've sewn in one of the arms, and that steek is holding just fine. So there you go. So what's on the needles? I've gone back to knitting my Rosamund sweater by Marie Wallen, which is great. I'm really enjoying knitting that again. This is in Rowan Felted Tweed DK, which I have in the shop. I'm knitting it in the avocado way on US 3s, and it's an all-over ribbed sweater with some cabling in the ribbing. And I've really got my rhythm back with this. It took me a little while to figure out where I'd left off. Always leave good notes when you decide to put your knitting down. I think it was the Yarn Harlot who said, even if you're putting your knitting down just for a minute, always make a note of where you are, because you might not come back to that for months or years and you'll not have a clue where you are. Well, that's sort of what happened to me. So I spent a good portion of a day, well, an hour, maybe trying to figure out exactly where I was. I don't know if it was even that, but it felt like that. It was non-knitting time. It was more scratching of the head time, knitting, and then realizing I was in the wrong place and frogging and starting again and cursing myself for not leaving good notes. But anyway, we're back, and I am knitting up the front, and I've done the arm shaping, which is the decreases on each side, and now I'm just going straight up to the shoulders. And then I can start the back, or maybe that is the back. I can't remember. I'm knitting in pieces. This is another pieced piece, and I just have either the front or the back to knit after this, and then I can sew all that together. And I will be using the crochet method on that too, I think, especially on the sleeves. I might do mattress stitch up the sides when it's straight. That's easy peasy. Yeah, I'm enjoying this knit, and the yarn is really nice and soft to knit with too. So that's going to be good. We'll see when I get done. It would be nice to have this for Edinburgh too, but I'm not going to put that pressure on myself because there's lots of other things I want to knit, which leads us on very nicely to what's up next. And here I talk about what I'm fantasizing about. And as you know, I'm still fantasizing about Autumn Leaves by Alana Dakos. I think I need to get on and swatch for this. I would like to knit it either in Black or Tamar DK or Wool Centrum light worsted weight, which I have here in the shop as well. I really want to knit with the Wool Centrum. I've knitted with the Tamar before, and it is a gorgeous yarn. And I think it would do this pattern quite well. But I haven't really knitted with the Wool Centrum except for a hat. I haven't knitted a garment or anything with it. And it's such lovely yarn that's very reasonably priced as well. And I think it would do this pattern really good justice. So that is the one. If I can make it work in that weight of yarn, then that's the one I want to knit. But we'll see. So that is what I'm daydreaming about. The other thing I'm dreaming about knitting, and I'm doing a lot of head sock knitting right now, is a pair of socks by Virginia Sattler Reamer, who is Ginny SR on Instagram. She has her Teragouche tam featured in Kate Davis's Milwaukee Heeds. She's a lovely lady, and she appeared on Fruity Knitting, Knitters of the World recently. She has a lovely pair of socks that are cables and garter stitch and ribbing and all of that, knitted in Blacker Classic 4-ply, which I have still some good supply of. Hopefully I'll be getting more from Blacker soon. Yeah, so I love these socks. So I bought the pattern and I am planning to cast them on soon too. And I love Blacker Classic, whether it's in 4-ply or DK. It's a great workhorse yarn, and I think it would be really lovely in socks. And I'm going to knit mine in the pale green colour that she used in her pattern. It's like a lovely, golden, delicious, granny appley green, lovely colour. So that is the plan for what's up next. And of course, we're going to be knitting mittens. So I am narrowing down my choices of what I'm going to be knitting. So let's talk about the cowl news. The cowl starts on Friday, February 22nd, so it's coming right up, and it runs for 6 weeks. And prizes, lots of prizes to include free patterns offered by the designers. There will be a special grand prize from the Willy Thistle, and also lovely, lovely P4 Chen Patricia will be donating the Cast On prize as she has done in previous years, which is just great. I really love that she's doing that for us again. Let's talk about some of the discounts, because these wonderful designers are giving us discounts off their patterns in the run-up to the cowl. Hello Yarn is offering 25% off all patterns already in force. Ginny SR, who's Virginia, is offering 20% off any of her patterns from February 1st to March 1st, so you could get the discount on those socks even. Pinniguri is offering 35% off regular price on her Bervotten the Texas mittens, champagne powder mittens, starting now until February 22nd. And I should say this list is all in the Ravelry group thread. So if you go to Ravelry, go to the Willy Thistle group and click on the thread for the Mitten Cowl, you will find all this laid out for you. Erica May is offering 20% off her patterns. E-Mount is offering 25% off until February 28th. Tori Rowe is offering 25% off her self-published patterns. Knit Netty is offering 30% discount through February 28th. Kino Lovely Mary is offering 50% off her colourwork mitten patterns now through April 5th, and they include the Kifaru mittens, which has the rhinoceros, the Pumba mittens, which is the warthog, Tembo mittens, which is the elephant, Twiga mittens, which is the acacia tree and giraffe motif, and the Safari mitten collection, which includes all four. If you purchase the Safari collection, $1 will go to dswt.org, and you can see more details about that on the collection page in Ravelry. PK Schwab is offering 50% off all mitten patterns. Lovely Spilly Jane is offering 50% off all her mitten patterns through April 5th. Drucanis Donna is offering 25% off her patterns. Go to her site to see them at sheep2shawl.com/patterns, and that goes through April 6th. And Camabornia Pia is offering 20% off all mitten patterns through February 25th. Diana Walla is offering 25% off individual colourwork mitten patterns through April 1st. And TMA is offering 25% off her Air Mail mitten patterns. You need to use the code that is provided for in the Ravelry group. That one code will get you the discount off all the patterns. So go check out these designers' patterns. They're offering great discounts, and it would be really great if you could support their work. Prizes too. P4 Chen will once again be offering the Cast On prize on February 22nd, so stay tuned for more details on that. And the following prizes have been generously donated by Hello Yarn, a kit of her Every Opening Flowers mittens, which is her newest design and very, very lovely. Ginny SR, 3 pattern prizes. Piniguri, 3 pattern prizes. E. Mount, 2 pattern prizes. Erica May, 1 pattern prize. Knit Netty, 5 pattern prizes. Tori Rowe, 3 patterns of any self-published pattern or ebook. PK Schwab, 1 pattern prize. Kino, 2 copies of the Safari Mitten collection. Spilly Jane, winners get 3 patterns of their choice. Camabornia, 5 pattern prizes. And Diane Walla, 1 copy of her ebook, Lion, Badger, Eagle, Snake. Oh my gosh, such a great collection. Andrew Canis, 1 copy of a shawl ebook PDF. TMA, 3 patterns of winner's choice. And also, the Willy Thistle will be offering the grand prize, probably in the form of a gift certificate, so you can get what you like. If you would like to donate a prize, just PM me or Nesting Mag, and we will get in touch and get that set up with you. So the cowl is going to be great. I am working on kits, and I'm just waiting for the few last wonderful bits and bobs to come in before I release them, but I'm sure I will be shouting about that on Instagram when they're ready, and we're going to have a few selections available of iconic mitten patterns that we can easily create mitts for and give you a little extra in there too. So keep an eye out on that. But definitely be thinking about what you want to be knitting and be planning to cast on February 22nd. And now it's time for the Willy Thistle update. As I say every time, and I really mean it, thank you so much for all your support of the Willy Thistle. We're doing great here, and I really appreciate you shopping with me and telling your friends about the shop, as sharing the good words about the shop is how I will continue to stay in business and hopefully keep growing too. So let's see, what do we have? I'm looking at stacks and stacks and stacks of boxes of Lina 7 that just arrived, which is in great time for the release date of February 15th. You will be listening to this on February 15th. If you're listening to the day it's released, of course, I'm recording this a few days earlier than that. But that's good news. The magazines are starting to come in. I'm still waiting for the rest of my order, but they have started coming in, which is a great sign. And we will be getting those out to you right away for the release date of February 15th. This is such a great issue. Kristen of Scandiwork, you will have seen her sweater now, the Marit, which uses tuku fingering weight wool. And this is a 3-color work cardigan designed by Kristen, who is a friend of the Willy Thistle for sure. And I'm just so excited for her having a pattern in Lina 7. And many of you are really loving that pattern too. I hope that I will have more tuku fingering in sometime this month, very soon. It's always a little difficult to get a gauge on what will be coming, but as soon as I know, I will be placing an order. I posted a lovely picture from Daniel, who was one of Kristen's test knitters, and he actually used 4 colors that were different from what's recommended in the pattern. And it's a beautiful, beautiful finished object that he knitted. So thank you, Daniel, for letting me share that. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous FO, and whoever gets to wear it will be very lucky indeed. Emma of the Woolly Mammoth has her BFL Massam DK yarn featured in a pattern by Lerka of Fibre Tales podcast. This is another lovely sweater that's in Lina 7 called Nire. I actually was lucky enough to get in the yarn for this, and that has been selling over the weekend, since Friday, I want to say, since last week. And I do have at this time a couple left. I think I have 1 yarn set left in the peony color that is in the Lina magazine. And then I have 1 left in what's called gold, but it's really an acidy yellowy green color. And then I have 1 more to put in the shop that is called Mott, and it's a greeny blue. It's a beautiful color. Also from Emma, I have 4-ply BFL Gotland, which is gorgeous. 4-ply Wensleydale, which again is gorgeous and very drapey. And I also have the BFL Massam in 4-ply as well. So there's lots of choice of Woolly Mammoth yarns right now. We're also getting a few sets from the Little Grey Sheep for the Davy mittens, which are also in line of 7. And I'll be getting my order in from Emma of the Little Grey Sheep soon. It's in transit. So we'll have those kits. We'll also have some more fingering weight sets and a top up of the DK yarn. You guys are loving Little Grey Sheep, and rightly so. And also in line of 7, there's a lovely Q&A with my friend Annie Claire, and I can't wait to read that. She's just a lovely girl, and if you ever get the chance to take a class with her, I would recommend that highly. So yes, I have ordered plenty of copies, and I still have many available. So if you are wanting a line of 7, please do order one from the Willy Thistle, and we'll get it out to you toot sweet. Brand new in the shop is Kate Davis's new yarn, Ard Thur, and I'm very excited to have this. This is 10 shades of bouncy 60-40 Peruvian Highland wool mixed with alpaca. It's really an Aran weight at 71 yards per 50 grams, so you would use a US 7 to 10 on that. The colours evoke a Scottish winter, which is to say moody, maybe even bleak, but I like bleak. You know, those muted colors. There's a brackeny orangey color. There's some browns, a very jewel-like blue, and a gray, and several greeny colors, greeny blues. She describes them as being a marled yarn, and she would know. I think it's a very subtle marling, though. It's beautiful, and I've had several people purchasing the yarn for the hat that she designed to go with this yarn. So yes, have a look at that. It's reasonably priced, and it's available from stockists now, which her other yarns are not. So this is exciting. This is a project she did with Fibre Spates, who is her distributor. And she wrote a really lovely blog post on her website explaining the transparency of the mill and the growth of the wool there in Peru, as well as the milling, and that most of the work, the hands-on work, is done by women. So if you're interested in knowing more about the yarn and its provenance, then go check out her website for that blog post. It's very informative. Just replenished or being replenished or coming soon in the shop. Like I said, Little Grey Sheep, more DK coming, and a few more fingering sets. Let Lopi and Ploto Lopi is in pretty good supply right now. Tuku fingering, I'm hoping that more is coming, but we do have a good supply. Just maybe those Marit colors are a little low. But we have a good supply otherwise, and more will come as soon as I'm able to get it. Jameson and Smith, weren't the grab bags fun? The baker's dozen. I hope if you wanted one, you were able to get one. We managed to pretty much clear out a lot of our stock. And so I've been frantically ordering more, and we are topped back up again. I think I have one more shipment to receive and we'll be in good shape. But yes, that was fun, and I think a very nice treat. So we will do that again, but I won't tell you when. We'll just have fun with that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I recently put 13 balls, randomly selected balls of yarn in a bag for the price of 10. And you also got our new heavier weight mini tote bag with that. Every color selection included at least 2 neutrals, 1 dark, 1 light. And I think everybody was happy with their selection. It was a really fun couple of days to do that. It was silly and fun. Let's see. I told you about Woolly Mammoth that's just in, so check her out. Her yarns are beautifully dyed, and she's using all British, no nylon, no superwash yarns, so it's just perfect. We have Wensleydale, I think I told you, and the BFL Gotland. Those 2 are especially beautiful. Rama Finnell Garn is in abundant supply, along with Strick Garn. And Gamel Surrey is growing. I now have the yarns in for the midnight socks. So if you have an interest in knitting those, which I still do, then we should get on that. They're in stock now. I need to get more Einrum in for sure. Jen Steingas, Knit Love Wool, has a new pattern coming out, and that was she just ran a little competition to name it, and there was a winner picked, and she got a $50 gift certificate to the Woolly Thistle, which was fun. Retrosaria is in. I have Brusca in good supply pretty much, I think, and Mondum as well. West Yorkshire Spinners. I have a top-up of that in a big box waiting, or 2 boxes waiting to be unpacked and put in the shop. So hopefully that will be in by the time you hear this. John Arbin Textiles. I put colour cards back in the shop. And I do have more knit by number DK coming in. That will come in over the next few weeks, along with Devonia, which is another base that they have that's absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't resist. I love shopping for yarn. Okay, what else? Highlights in stock right now. I'm delighted to be stocking and distributing for Making Stories, who are out of Berlin, Germany. Their books, Jules, Breeze and Woods. And they're also working on a magazine that will be coming out soon too. And I will be distributing those magazines. So if you have any interest in stocking those in your shop, you will get in touch with me and I'll get them to you. All these books are available for wholesale as well as retail. And let's see, what else do I have? Knitsonic is back in stock and back on Instagram. Thank you very much. That's great. Tuku Sock is in good supply. And I have the 4 new colors, which was a lovely foresty green. Runo, which is a light beige color. We have that in fingering. We now have it in sock. And a couple of other colors too. So go check them out. Lopi, I told you we're in good supply. I am going to order more HO kits because I'm still being asked for those, which is lovely. You want to knit up an 8 shawl because it is a beautiful, beautiful shawl. I will be ordering more Pluto Lopi for that, so just keep a lookout. If you click on the email me button in the project page in the shop, then you will get an email when I stock that back up. Ulcentrium is coming in and it's a gorgeous yarn. So do check it out. Consider using it. In fact, Pia Camabornia used Ulcentrium in her Visby mittens, and that's part of the cowl. So check that out. Pom Pom, spring issue 28 is on its way, as well as Knit How, one of their new books. And Knits About Winter book is here and in good shape. So I have a few of them left if you want to place an order. Cigarettes by Asa Tricosa is in, and I believe I have the last of the stock available in the US. So I'm sure more is coming, but if you would like that book, get it now. Strange Brew is in by Tin Can Knits, and that's doing very well. Mittens of Latvia is doing well, and I see I need to order more because we're down to our last one right now. I think it's time for me to wrap up this show. So remember, if you go out, take your knitting. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Willy Thistle podcast from the Willy Thistle online shop. You can find all the items discussed at thewoollythistle.com. 2 L's in Willy. You can join our Ravelry group by searching in Ravelry for The Willy Thistle. The podcast is available on iTunes and at thewoollythistle.com. You can reach Corrine at hello@thewoollythistle.com. Follow The Willy Thistle on Instagram at The Willy Thistle. Join our newsletter for all the latest news and subscriber specials at thewoollythistle.com. Thank you for listening.